morning, Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, who is on the show. And Lieutenant General Pandey, Operation Sindoor, larger, bigger, more decisive than any of the previous strikes that India has done against Pakistan. The intent clear, the efficacy, the planning. Could you throw some light on that?
Navika, for having me on the show. Is Jai Hind to all and congratulations on Op Sindoor. The symbolism of a government or a nation when they carry out an operation has to be overall thought out in so many manner. Similar to, when the Pakistanis have done Pahalgam, there were a number of points which are indicative during that number of messaging. And similarly, when you expand this operation from a pinpoint post-Uri surgical attack, thereafter post-Balakot, Pulwama, that Balakot where we went across to hit IB, these were symbols of an escalatory ladder that you keep on coming up to a higher level. We got tools in our arsenal which we are going to hit at the next level. The expansion of it this time and the selection of target hitting all the three terrorist hydras which is there existing in Pakistan and including Pak Punjab in number of places where we hit to the depth and the range of nearly about 100 kilometers. Hitting the enemy where it hurts the most is, I think, a major symbol. But you take this name per se as Op Sindoor is a signal not only to those who lost lives on that day, but it's a message to the world across that we will not accept any more deaths, any more Sindoors being washed off. I think that's the holistic symbol which has come out. And the second, third very important part is, Navika, is that the tools which have been used in this tactical is a very tactical operation where the messaging at the strategic level, the tools are very precise. They are latest modern tools which have been applied. All the elements of Air Force and Army have been applied in the sense that we didn't have to cross the border. We hit the enemy right from this side deep into the territory is something which is telling the world that we are arrived on the scene from the dime T perspective. The T is also very important. There is a technology which is there to back us up and we are fully ready to scale up the operations to any level which they have to go. Now the call is with the Pakistan military, Pakistan Army and of course the world to stall the operation at this level.
Well, General Pandey, do you think Pakistan is going to retaliate despite their fear-mongering, despite their, crying to most of the international, powers that be? They were taken unawares last night. Here, there were announcements of mock drills that would take place, and instead, there was the real drill that happened on Pakistan last night. Do you think it's going to be quiet on the Western front, or do you think there is going to be some retaliation? And how do you think India can counter that?
It's very important for Pakistan Army's relevance that they need to do something as a response for it. Now there are a number of levels. You just spoke about this issue of mock drill, but I must highlight the very unique part this time, because yesterday only I was discussing on a channel, and in fact the Prime Minister was there and I met him. Nowhere in that body language when he was talking and he was addressing the nation, there was an indication altogether at all that there is a possibility of something happening, and it was very he talked of the FTA with the British. I think this is the ultimate form of maintaining poise and surprise, because I'm sure he must be fully aware and in the grip of situation, and he made this issue yesterday night. I was watching him very intently to see any sign of expression. So the deception which has come about when the entire Pakistan Army was ready, in which we went for the mock drill, which is supposed to be tonight at about evening at 4 o'clock, also set a certain degree of complacency. The second is that a number of fighter aircraft taking maneuvers on this side of the IB over the last few days also sets a certain degree of complacency. And more importantly, I think the packaging when it has been launched in terms of suppression of suppression of all the AD system and everything to strike deep by our Air Force. That is also a great action which has been done by our team in terms of deception. Now, coming to what they are going to carry out at the level of first, they need to respond and show a muscular response in terms of ceasefire violation, which has already commenced. And it was anticipated, and our teams were, our armed forces were totally loaded and ready to respond in that manner. In fact, you must have noticed that, I must tell you that last 4-5 days, I've been talking to my compatriots. These guys have been firing into the nalas in speculative fire. They were shit scared that something is going to come from our side. They were quite apprehensive. And then, of course, they were quite ready to respond. That response that happened. My only worry is that Pakistan is known to hit civilian targets, not hit army targets. This is very, very calibrated. They hit and punish our civilians. Whereas the maturity of armed forces, which is cultural, civilizational, we try to distinguish between the terrorists, between our military force, and also between the civilian population. So this one part, for them to punish our civilians, is going to be taken, should be taken quite seriously, and it's likely to happen. The second is that he may carry out certain degree of punitive terrorist action this time. Again, so we need to be vigilant, not only on the border, this thing, but across the country for few days at least till the time this whole thing stabilizes. But the third is that in this escalatory ladder, he's got an option to do something outright silly. But I'm sure that currently, when I see the body language and the movement of Mr. Asim Munir, I'll not talk to him as general because he's unlike a military professional. Military professionals got ethics. This gentleman is under pressure, the body language, the defense minister, the appointment of the DGISI, the NSA. There are signaling of trouble and pressures on this gentleman that you have crossed a line far too. You've taken a long road to hang yourself, and there is a worry, I think. So I don't appreciate as of now they will take a step again. But yes, they may still do a symbolic thing, fly on their side, drop a couple of bombs, which they did last time. That is the level they must do. Say, again, if they go, they are in for a trouble. We got next level of punishment waiting for them to go.
Well, you're absolutely right. Asim Munir under a lot of pressure, and most of their generals actually have political dreams. At the moment, he was the appointing authority of the Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, who himself looks like such a puppet of the army chief that not many take him seriously. He has to visit the ISI headquarters to meet the army chief and the ISI DG, not the other way around. Just shows the state of affairs in Pakistan. But the military jihadi complex in Pakistan, has it got a body blow? Because the visuals that are coming in, really show the rubble, the devastation, the destruction that has taken place. And the hospital scenes show the ununiformed soldiers, foot soldiers of the Pakistani army sitting there and corps commanders meeting them. Do you think they would be with their backs against the wall waiting to do something even more dastardly?
No, you see, yes, they must do something, right? I am quite sure that at the terrorist level they'll have to show. But what is happening is that their network in our country has reduced to a great degree. Their efficacy to operate has also come down drastically. But yes, hitting out at the headquarters, particularly at the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters in Murid and Jaish-e-Mohammed at Bahawalpur, they never expected this to happen, right? Never. Even I, after so many years in the army, I was not anticipating that we will be able to strike in the manner we did, and the approvals will come from the highest channels to carry out a deep strike at 100 kilometers. Having served number of times in that region, I used to always wonder, because I see the map and we knew we had mapped these targets for the Air Force to carry out strike, but we always anticipated that we'll carry out a major military maneuver, and that is the time we'll strike. But this distinguishing, a very careful distinguishing, Navika, which should be taken by Indian media, Indian diplomats, is that don't let these terrorists stay next to your populated areas. You may get hurt. Is a message which must go to the civilians of the Pakistani people, and that distinguishing is important, that they must hold them account, that we are likely to get burned because you are there. You know, just draw the parallel to what is happening in Hamas and this region of Israel Hamas. You know, no population, even Pakistani, howsoever radicalized, will want the heat coming home for them till the time there's a full-fledged war. So I think this is a symbol. And then last is that the population needs to ask their Pakistani generals that your ambitions are taking us to which path. I think our information narrative must target these generals not only in Pakistan but all over the world, that they are driving a country which is totally down in economics and everything to a situation of war only for the political ambition of power and money by few people who are so radicalized at the who are controlling.
And they happen to be in the army, which is the sad part of Pakistan, which clearly failed state, and to call it a state also probably extremely unfortunate. But thank you very much, General Pandey, for joining us here this morning on a day that this country is so proud of Operation Sindoor and what our defense forces have achieved. Visual